mean, does anyone like summer season? As in, like,
The
clothes?
No.
No.
I don't know. Maybe some do, but I don't.
No. It's like, I hate,
It's
because it
not.
doesn't matter. It's like, no matter how undressed you are, you're still so hot.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's so miserable.
It's like nothing helps.
Ruby.
Hi, Ruby. She can tell I'm sick, so she's snuggling me.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Your mic's falling off.
Oh, crap. Get Ruby. It's time
Come here,
to sit
Ruby.
down. Sorry about that. Sorry about it.
Sorry about it. Why is that a thing? Was that you or me? I think it was you. Sorry about it. Or was it me?
It was you.
Sorry about it. It's like my favorite phrase.
Yeah. It's like when we say something that's a little rogue.
Gosh, what is she doing?
She knows I'm sick.
She's literally playing musical chairs. She's done this 50 times since we've been sitting here. That is cute, though.
I swear dogs can
do.
sense your energy.
She's like, this girl just needs some extra love today.
No, I cried today. Speaking of,
Oh,
I know this is all over the country, but shortly after we filmed our podcast last week, we heard the news that Charlie Kirk was shot, and I have never cried so hard for a stranger.
I know.
I can't listen to a single word without bawling. I don't know. I think of his wife, but not only that, just like his courageous faith to share what he needed to say. And he was not apologetic, whether you agreed with everything he said or not.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't apologetic about his beliefs. And how many of us kind of cater to or get nervous that someone's going to get mad if we say how we really feel.
It's so true.
Why do you think that has impacted the world so much, Ashley?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I do think that everyone's kind of feeling that. It doesn't matter what side you sit on or what your beliefs are, but if you just look at the courage he had to say what he believed in, I think everyone's kind of rising up together. Like, why are we so afraid? He would go out to the public. Now, I watched something from Theo Vaughn the other day about him, and he's so funny. Oh my gosh, I love Theo Vaughn. But he was like, I sit behind a screen as we are right now. We sit behind a camera with our microphones and we're sharing what we believe. And even that's intimidating because there's people in the comments that want to say, they want to refute what you're saying. But he went out in public, and that is the scariest place to be. In public, you have no idea what the person across from you is going to say. And we just have that fear. But he did this every day and he didn't care. And he just, I don't know, I feel like he was just very brave and courageous, and it makes me want to stand firmer in my beliefs and not be afraid to share how I feel.
I totally agree. This scripture keeps coming to my mind. I can't remember the exact reference. Maybe it's 2 Timothy 1. I don't know. I'll look it up. But it says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And then it goes on to say, "Be not therefore ashamed of the testimony of our Lord." I've looked back on my life and I've had times where I've been super courageous with my beliefs. And honestly, that is when I feel the most happy, is when I stand up for what's true and what's right, regardless of the opinion around me. And I'm not one to shove things down people's throat, but to lovingly hold on to truth and to be okay with living that. I love when I feel that way. And there's other times where I've kind of faltered away from that.
Yeah.
And started to get quiet. That scripture's been ringing through my mind. And I actually pulled up this, it's an overview from AI, which I don't know how I feel about AI, but this was great. So it says in the Bible, the phrase spirit of fear, it's 2 Timothy 1:7. So it says, again, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And this teaches you that the Holy Spirit does not produce fear, but provides believers with courage, sacrificial love, and self-discipline to face challenges and serve God. And the apostle wrote this to Timothy, encouraging him not to be ashamed of the gospel or be paralyzed by the fear of affliction or persecution of his faith. The verse contrasts the spirit of fear that might arise from anxiety or timidity with the divine empowerment through the Holy Spirit. And then it just goes on to say gifts of the Spirit. God's gift through the Holy Spirit is characterized by 3 qualities in this verse: power, which means the strength to overcome danger and difficulty; love, a sacrificial love for God and others that fuels service; a sound mind, self-control, alertness, and a sober understanding of truth. And the application for the believer would be, the verse encourages believers to rely on God's strength rather than yielding to fear, thereby enabling them to live bold and faithful lives. I thought that was a great definition.
Yeah.
And yeah, what does it mean to live in courage for you, Ashley? Ashley's had so many opportunities to share her love of Christ with people that may or may not believe because of where her job took her. So
Yeah.
she did at work. She built a massive team, and everyone knew her as the Christian lady there.
Yeah, they did.
Why did they
Yeah.
know this about you? Like, it was very evident.
It was. So we would do these events. So this was a network marketing company. I was a part of it for several years. I think 2013 is when I started. When social media became like a thing and we'd be posting about, our job, I always would share scriptures and quotes and just my personal testimony. It was something that I always did. And, I actually had people reach out to me like that were even in my own faith that were like, I'm so afraid to do that. I'm afraid that people will stop following me, or, you're not attracting everybody. If you have like this very strong opinion, you're going to limit yourself to just other Christians. Like, why are you outspoken? And this is coming from Christian people. I don't know. I felt like God gave me a platform specifically for that reason. It was like, well, you also have this job that you can intertwine this with, but I gave you this platform for me. I feel like my purpose was specifically to share this message. And so anything extra I shared, it was great that I could earn income online and I, use my platform for that as well. But I was like, if I take that away, if I take my purpose away, then I don't feel like my job would fulfill me as much. I liked being that example because I did also have people message me and say, because you share things, I'm not afraid to. Yeah. And that to me meant way more than any other kind of message I've ever had, with work. So.
And how many of us have been so blessed by the things that Ashley shares? And I remember me reading about your story of your son Milo, mm-hmm. and you just crying out to heaven's help to understand this situation. And just every word I read, I found myself just bawling.
Oh.
Because it's like, how cool that you showed your faith in such like a turbulent time, that you called on the name of Jesus to strengthen you, and that he did. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna bawl because
oh my gosh,
life is filled with significant challenges, and God's love is there to fill us with strength while we go through these things that you literally can't handle on your own. I believe that God does give you more than you can handle.
Yeah.
But it's to show his grace, and that word grace is interchangeable with strength. It's by God's grace that we are saved, but it's actually by God's strength what fills us up for those turbulent times that are not manageable on our own.
It's true. And that was, going through that loss was the most unbelievable. I look back and I'm like, there's no way. I literally thought I was going to die from that pain. Yeah. Like that, when you first find that out. I think did I share that in a podcast? I don't know if that was a public podcast or not.
You shared a little bubble on your Instagram of some of that story.
Okay. So I wasn't sure if everybody...
Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So, man, we weren't sure where this was going. I love where these podcasts take us, though. I feel like they're just so good. My son passed away. He was almost 6 months old, and it was very obviously unexpected. What's interesting is I was on a work trip, and I had never been on an airplane. Did you know that? I was 26 years old, and I went on my very first airplane ride. I was freaking out the whole time, and it was for work. I had won a cruise. So we went out to Florida on this cruise, and we were going to stay an extra day because, hello, it's Florida, and I had never been on an airplane. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get on one again. So we had planned to stay an extra day, and when we got off the ship, I had the most strong urge that I needed to get home, and I couldn't explain why. I was like, are my kids okay? We called, everything was fine, and it wouldn't leave me. And so I was like, we're going to the airport, and we're going home right now. And my husband at the time was like, whoa, okay. He's like, I'm not going to second guess what you're feeling, but we'll get home. We'll go. So we get home, and everything was fine, but my son passed away the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And if I didn't listen to that, I don't know what would have happened. He would have been with family when this would have happened because he just passed in his sleep. So I look at that, number one, that prompting of going home. I didn't understand why. And I got home and everybody was fine. And I felt like, okay, such peace. I don't know why I felt like I needed to be here, but I did. Then it was the next day, and everything was fine. I can remember every little detail of that day, but we were out of a lot of things because we were on a trip. So I ran to the grocery store to go pick up some things, specifically my youngest diapers. And while I was out, I didn't know what was going on at home, but that's when my husband at the time found him unresponsive. So he called 911. I remember driving home and a cop flew up behind me. And I pulled over and was like, my heart was racing. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was getting pulled over. And I see up in the distance him turn. And I'm like, that looked like he was turning down my road. So then I drive again and another cop flies up behind me. And I was like, oh my gosh, something horrible is happening right now. And then I get to my street and I see fire trucks, ambulances. I mean, an ambulance, a fire truck, and it swarmed with cop cars. I don't even remember like throwing my car in park. I just was like, at this point, I felt like I was not in my body anymore because I knew it was my home. I saw my husband at the time. He was kneeling on the ground outside. And I fly my door open and he's just trying to tell me like, it's Milo. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And so they told me to just jump in a car. A neighbor got us in his car and we went to the hospital. And the whole time I just had this peace. And so I was like I kept trying to console him. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, I feel like he's going to be okay. Like he's in their care. And he's like, no, I promise you he's not. We get to the hospital and they keep telling us like, we haven't found a pulse and he hasn't started to breathe. And so I just remember like walking into that room and oh my goodness, it like literally makes me shake. Like when you put yourself back in that situation, because it honestly feels like another lifetime. It's so hard to, I hate talking about it, but I know there's people that are going through like fresh struggle and it's just important to share this. So when I remember when everybody was crying. The doctor, there was multiple doctors working on him, all the nurses in the room, everybody was just sobbing. And I remember when they told us like, it's been too long. Like there's literally nothing we can do. We can keep going. And my husband said, you can stop. And that's when I was like, oh, this is like real, sorry. I just remember leaving. The whole experience from this point on felt completely out of body. When I got home, I just remember this is when like I was so angry and like anger now set in, and I ran up the stairs into my closet and I slammed it shut and I just screamed out to God. But I said, please, like, take this pain from me. And I like collapsed on the floor, but right then all it took was me crying out, like, please help me. And I literally felt like a swarm of angels in my room. I could tell you there was thousands. It wasn't just like 2 or 3. It felt like it was unbelievable because it felt like there was too many people that could fill that space, thousands of people. And my heart rate was just through the roof, and it just like everything calmed down. My nervous system, like I just felt this encompassing physical change that took over my body. And I just remember sitting down and being like, what just happened? What was that? I felt that he was okay. I felt like his huge spirit was like, Mom, like, I'm good. I felt, unless you've been through this, it's hard to explain. But when this moment happened in my life, I knew from this point forward, when I need help, that's what you do. You cry to Jesus and you ask for that strength, because he is the only one that can support you in that time. He's the only one that can actually give you the strength. And I think so often we try to rely on our own, or we try to numb the pain. And so we turn to substance, or we turn to other things that's going to numb it. But if you just pray and ask for the strength to carry this load you have to carry, it is the only thing that will carry you through it. So sorry, that was like a very long-winded explanation, but
don't ever apologize. I'm like about to ugly cry. Wow, that's a beautiful experience. Thanks for sharing that, Ashley.
yeah.
And I literally just was telling people for months, I'm like, I just don't really cry. And every time we're talking, I'm freaking bawling now.
I know. Honestly.
Maybe we're just healing from some stages of survival, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, that's really what it is
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have emotion. It's good to be moved to tears. It's good to laugh. It's good to play. It's all emotion is good. It's
It
okay
is.
to even have anger sometimes,
Yeah.
but not to dwell in it.
Right.
So thank you so much for sharing that, Ashley.
Yeah.
Have you had experiences where you feel like Milo's been helping you along your way in life?
Yeah, so many times where I will specifically feel like that was him, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's really cool there. And my dad has since passed too. And so there's times where I can feel it's like one or the other or both. It's very interesting, but I'm like, oh, I feel like that was my dad, or oh, I feel like that was Milo. Or sometimes just many, you know, I'm like, I feel like I just had several angels just intervene with what just happened in my life, you know?
Yes.
It's so cool. But also, it takes you like going through those like hard moments in your life to experience miracles. And to me, that was the greatest miracle I've ever experienced. Still to this day, I would tell you that experience in my closet after losing my son was the most powerful miracle I've ever experienced. And you know, I honestly, I look back and think I'm just grateful that that's what I did, what I chose to do was to just cry out and ask for help and not turn to something else that could have maybe completely derailed me. Like, who knows what could have happened if I just was like, I don't want to feel this today. I want to go do something that's going to make me not feel this. And I don't know. We just never know what that could lead us to, you know?
I think that intense grief is what, it's hard for me to judge people, even though I don't like all the time what people do. But I know people that turn to substance,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it is from intense pain that they maybe didn't know how to turn to that spirit of love that God's love could heal them.
Right.
And people just numb themselves for
Mm-hmm.
various reasons. And I think that's just such a great story of calling on the name of heaven to
Yeah.
feel you instead of numbing that pain.
Right.
So I've always really admired Ashley's ability to just testify of God's love and of Christ's power and of angels. And I really do believe angels help us through life. I've had loved ones pass and have totally felt supported from them. And I think that's how God works on the other side. He sends our loved ones to help us through this life for sure. I've had many experiences of witnessing that. So
Yeah.
I just want to talk a little bit about angelic help, especially with the things that have occurred recently. Not only did Charlie Kirk get assassinated, but also there was another school shooting where 2 people died, and there is chaos all around us. And I was feeling so overwhelmed for his wife, Charlie Kirk's wife, but also these people that lost their kids for senseless reasons. And I had planned a backpacking trip. And when I went, I was just really overwhelmed. I wanted to cancel the trip because I was so stuck in my head with fear, with sadness for the world, for what that meant for people that want to stand up. And is that going to create fear? And then looking at my own life, do I really say what I want to say, or am I afraid of what people think? And as I was hiking in this canyon, we were so tired. We got up at 2 a.m. to get there and didn't get to take a nap. So we hiked 8 miles. I had very little sleep. So that night we just slept under the stars in the canyon. We'd hiked 8 miles in. And the next day we got up and continued on our journey and met a fellow sojourner from Tennessee. So that was kind of fun to meet people from around the world, or at least around the country. And as we were hiking, there was one point in the middle of these slot canyons. Buckskin Gulch is the largest slot canyon in the world that's been found. So it's very, very big. You can't go if there's any hint of rain whatsoever. So as we're hiking, there was one point that we ran into a rattlesnake. And that's scary because it's
so
a
scary.
thin canyon, So we were able to go around it. And I just had this thought, there are snakes in the world, but don't let that stop you from enjoying the beautiful journey ahead of you. And I want to keep that note in mind. There are bad things that happen, but don't let that stop you from standing up and continuing on your journey. Don't let it stop you where the snake is and not press on. Just keep going. You can move past the snakes in the world and enjoy beautiful things.
I love that. That's so good. And I also think it's so important that you did. You went on this journey because I think Satan just wants to stop us from experiencing joy. It's like, no, just live in fear. He would rather that, you know?
For someone that has had some fear about speaking up for the truth and maybe for God, do you have any suggestions on how to gain the courage to stand up for what you believe in?
I think it really just matters, like whatever your conviction is, if your conviction isn't strong enough, you won't. So it really starts with just building your own faith. If you kind of are lukewarm or you're not really sure what you believe, you're not going to, why would you stand in front of people and proclaim that, you know? So I think it first takes you just really being convicted. Once you are convicted, you really don't care because, you know, if you speak for Jesus, if like you stand up for him, if you defend me to people, I will defend you, you know? And
Yes.
that's the only thing that matters.
I do have an experience with this. There's a verse that says, I will go before your face. I will be on your right hand and on your left, and my angels round about you to bear you up. And I used to go speak a lot. I do it sometimes still, but to women's groups, youth groups, whatever. And I did talk about that connection to heaven. And anytime I was about to go on these trips, have I shared this before? Maybe.
I don't think so.
I would just get the most intense darkness. And I was praying one day and I was like, the darkness is greater than the light that I'm getting. Like, I need an actual angel that knows me to help me, because this is too much. Like, I would just feel like I was going to die literally before I would go speak. But then there would be these incredible experiences where people did get to where they could feel that divine love and feel that connection to God's spirit. And it was all through a moving prayer, a meditation that connects you to Christ. So of course the devil doesn't want you to have that connection, and the devil wants you to be isolated. So one day I was just praying and I said, Lord, I don't feel like I have enough help. I can't share this one part, but what I can share is that my cousin, my grandpa, my uncle, these three men that I was so close to in my life, my family, my extended family, were all really close on both sides. And I feel really lucky about that. But these key characters passed away all within 7 months, 8 months of each other. And I remember this was the day, literally maybe a day after my uncle's funeral. We were going on this hike to do this meditation. And as I'm hiking, I literally said a prayer in my mind. And I was like, God, I'm not feeling this adversity that I normally experience. I feel so calm. I don't feel this cloud over my mind. I don't feel this fear trying to get at me to shut my voice off. We got up to this certain spot and did some movement. And when I started the meditation, there's a point where you pause and you're having communion with God. You're asking him any questions that you need to, because your mind and your body is cleared. And my question that I asked silently, I said, why didn't I feel that adversity today like I have in the past? And this image came directly to my mind. We call this your mind's eye, your eye of faith. And I literally saw my cousin, my grandpa, my other uncle that passed away, and my uncle that just barely passed away, standing side by side with their arms folded, and just said, we've got you. And I have felt that protection so many times. Like, hey, we're little warrior ninjas for Jesus now. Like, we love you and we want to help you through your journey. So that was a really cool experience for me. And my uncle was so cool because, gosh,
Look at us, Bobbi. We both we never freaking cry.
I never cry.
Oh, no.
I honestly wanted this to be like a funny podcast, but I
know. Oh,
my cousin that passed, he was so loving. He just loved everyone. But my uncle, he had been in an auger accident. So he lost his limbs. He lost his arm in the moment he got stuck, and it was whipping him around over and over again.
What did he get?
A mining accident.
Oh, mining accident.
Sorry, I'm so nasally. It's probably hard to understand me, but
oh no.
So an auger is something that drills the earth. It's huge, and
that's so scary.
His shirt got caught in it, and there was no service, so that was a miracle in and of itself. He got whipped around so many times, it kept hitting his leg every time he'd go down, so his leg was twisted all up, but it twisted his arm off right at the sleeve.
Oh my gosh. No.
And by some miracle, his brother had passed away when he was 8 from a heart surgery. His lungs collapsed. And he said his arm that he had just lost was within reach. So he propped his head up with it. And he, for some reason, in this place that never has service, he had one bar and was able to send a message for help. And he would have died. So anyway, he was a cowboy. So like full blown mustache, handlebar, cowboy roper. And even after his accident, after he eventually had to have his leg amputated, but even after that, he still roped and would ride his horses. He still was a rancher, even without an arm and a leg. And he would speak all over the place and bear witness of angelic help. And he felt like his brother saved him that day that was on the other side. And so he preached that word all the time, and it was so cool to experience his help now from an angelic standpoint. So
that is so powerful.
Angels are real. And honestly, your family loves you so much, your ancestors from the other side. And don't be afraid to stand up. They will go before your face and be on your right hand and your left. And God will go before your face. And your angels, your ancestors do surround you and support you.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh.
We're both just like, yeah, I'm inconsolable right now. And I didn't bring tissues.
Sorry, I did.
Oh my. I feel angels every day. I think if you know, Bobbi always says this, miracles follow me everywhere I go. And if you live in that way, if you live looking for the miracles every single day, there's awful things that are going on all the time, but look for the miracles and look for the little ways that you can feel that heavenly help, because it's always with us.
And specifically pray and ask that your angels will be with you, that God's army will surround you. There's that verse in the Bible that says, they that be with us are more than they that be with them. There was this army surrounding these people, but when they opened their eyes, they saw chariots of fire surrounding them. And we have so much help from the other side. So no matter what's to come in the world, there is a massive army of angels that is ready, excited, and just wants to be asked for help.
That's what I think. I believe that so much. And I also think it's important, like you said, to ask. They will help, but how much more will they do if you're the one asking for their help? And I think it's also important to acknowledge when you notice it.
Yeah, I do too. That's funny. I was going to say that. Like, I always thank God after I'm like, I know that was you.
Yeah.
Like, I felt you. I know you.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess one more thing really quick. Have you ever felt a time where even though you've had all these miracles, things that have happened, that you've kind of shut that flow? And can you explain why you think that flow has been shut off before?
Yeah, there was a time. So I used to, it's hard to say I used to. I always just talked about Jesus. It's like what I did. There was a time in 2020, and this really sticks out in my mind, where I had shared something and someone wrote me a message. She said, I'm unfollowing you because all you do is scare me. Like, the things that you say about Jesus, all it does is inflict fear in my heart, and I hate that you talk about him. I hate that I don't know why this message got to me. I don't know what state of mind I must have been in when I read this message, but I remember thinking, I'm never going to talk about him again. Like, if this is how people take it, like that was never my intention, was to scare people. I was trying to give people hope. And I said that in my mind. I said, I'm not going to share. I'm not going to do it anymore. And I had this very strong feeling that if you watch what happens if you don't. And I didn't for a long time. I stopped right there, and I noticed a huge shift, not only in my personal life, but I felt just not aligned. I'm like, wow, I'm just not in my purpose anymore. And I felt like I couldn't get guidance in anywhere else in my life. I'm like, why is everything so foggy? I thought back to that moment. I'm like, oh, I was warned about that. If I shut that off, if I stopped, watch what happens. And I saw, and I didn't like it.
I think we all go through times that kind of rock for whatever reason, we fall away from that. But I think God in his goodness will just remind us, now you know contrast. So
yes,
even though it's challenging to speak up, the Spirit of Christ that you carry with you when you do is unbelievable. It's actually quite magical.
It is magical.
And it's like weird. It's harder, but it's magical. Like the canyon I went through, I would never have seen those incredible views if I didn't take that journey. And I think the adventure of the gospel of Jesus Christ is so magical. You get to see incredible things. You get to see miracles. You get to see people's hearts soften, their lives change, their ability to connect to heaven. It's just so cool to watch those things happen. And that's a journey that it was hard to go through that canyon. It took some work, but I also got to see really beautiful views.
Right.
So thanks for sharing that, Ashley.
Yeah.
I've had times where I felt disconnected too, really from the influence of other people, and I let it get to me. And I had a hard time going to church for a long time. I would just sit in the hall. I was like, don't talk to me, leave me alone. I didn't feel like a peaceful feeling there anymore because of difference of opinion and how some situations were handled that I went through. And I recently got called to work with the kids. When I say called, we volunteer in my church to serve in different positions to just help the church function. So I was asked to work with the kids, and I was so surprised. I had an absolute mental breakdown about it. I was like, no, I said yes, but inside I was like, I hate working with other people. I get so sick of being viewed as a leader when I'm just a regular person. Like, don't hold me to your crazy standard. I can't live up to it. I was livid when I got called, and for weeks I was not quiet about it. I was like, I can't live up to this psychotic standard. Oh, that's all made up in my head. Like, we're meant to help each other as a community, and it's been so healing to listen to how cute these kids are when they sing about Jesus, and it's been so fun to work in this community. And I've just learned, like, we bump into each other sometimes. We've talked about having a heart of forgiveness. You have to have forgiveness because we're gonna run into each other, and they're gonna be hard bumps sometimes. And if you aren't rooted in forgiveness and can't move past that, you reject the amazing experiences that could come in the future. You can't label one bad experience as a bad experience as a whole.
Right.
But we get so focused on those negative experiences that we've had that we diminish the light and the love that we could experience if we kept pressing on. That's all I have to share today.
That's so good.
What's made you brave to speak up more now? You've had a hard year.
I knew that we were going to podcast, and I knew that we were going to just share experiences. And I feel like that's the only way that you can, well, you sharing your journey or the things that helped you grow. Other people are going through similar experiences. And if you're a little bit farther down the path, they're on the same road, but you're a little bit farther down. That's how we help people. Part of the healing journey is lost, if not shared, with others that are, again, going through similar things. And we have no idea what people are going through that need these messages. It's always our prayer that when we sit down, what is it that you want us to share? Because we have no idea who's on the other end watching. And so today we actually sat down with a completely different idea of what we were going to talk about. And we always say we have no idea where this is going to go.
Right.
And today it went on a complete, like, our topic never even got brought up.
Not even close.
No. So obviously it was meant to be this way. But again, going through the hard things, sharing them, I think not only helps us heal, like, look at us bawling our eyes out over here.
I still am.
But it's going to help someone on the other end.
I hope so. It can be scary to speak up because judgment, whatever. But if your love of God is stronger than the adversity that you face, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to be brave, even if you're imperfect.
And my prayer is always that it's received how I want it to be received. My problem or my struggle before was when I read that message, I'm like, oh, this is not how I meant it. So then it scared me. I said, oh, is this how everyone thinks? Like, this whole time when I've been sharing things, does everyone feel this way? And it scared me from sharing.
Yeah.
So my prayer is always, anytime I share anything, is I hope it's received how it's meant in my heart, like how I wanted it to be received.
I think that's so beautiful. I watched an influencer have a disagreement with someone, and she shared the messages with everyone about how to handle conflict when you have a disagreement. And it ended up so beautiful. She's like, oh, that was a misunderstanding. I just meant if my message offends you, you don't have to follow me. But I love those of you that choose to stay even if we see things different. Mm-hmm. That was the end message. And they both just came to this peaceful term. Like, no, I love how much joy you share. even though we have different systems of belief. And I'm like, this is how you create unity and bridge gaps in communities with different beliefs. We don't have to be shooting each other.
No.
Because we're scared of what each other say. It's like, no, like it's okay to have a difference of view
Right.
and to still experience love. Thanks so much for sharing
Yeah, you too.
these thoughts, Ashley.
I love it.
Do we want to share a miracle moment, or
Yeah, you have one.
this is so fast? So about 7 years ago, I think we did the same hike. So this is from my friend Mike and Janny. And I didn't even ask permission, but I know they're okay if I share it. So we were going to start the hike at Wire Pass. We were supposed to leave our car there, go hike in and out this way. Out of nowhere, Mike's like, I just feel like we need to go start at this other place about 8 to 10 miles down the road. And we're like, okay, that's fine. He's like, I don't know. It's just more wide open. I think it will be better. So we go park there, hike into where we're camping, and get notified while we're camping. There's ash in the sky. We see ash flying by us that the other trail had started on fire, even in the parking lot. And our car would have been where it was burning down. So we hiked in and hiked out the same way. And by some miracle, our vehicle was spared just because very last second, I'm not kidding, to the last second, we parked somewhere else. And I thought that was just the coolest miracle. Sometimes we don't even know we're following the spirit, but God just gives us the thought. You follow through. You don't even know why. And it's not always evident, but sometimes it is. And I thought that was a really cool miracle.
That is such a cool miracle. And it's so important to listen to that little tiny thought. You have no idea what that could mean. And I do have a story I want to share, but I'm going to save it for next time.
Okay.
About listening, because it has to do with not listening and finding something out that was not good. So we'll keep you hanging on.
Woo, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, it's tragic, but it's a good story because I mean it's crazy.
Yeah, I would love to hear the times that we didn't listen and the evidence of that.
And the evidence, yeah.
Well, thanks for listening today. Until next time.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
Also, sorry for my nasally stuff. It's just a problem today. I'm a little bit sick.
That's okay. Listen, I'm nasally too, and we're gonna get some tissues here.
Yeah.
That's on my to-do list.
I'll get some too.
All right. Okay, see you.
Bye.
Bye.